Coming up on LiveWire, we've got a great show for you today. Sit down. You're going to really enjoy these folks. They're from the Sacramento International Film Festival, which is coming up it opens this weekend. And you'll get all the information if you sit down and watch LiveWire.
This Saturday, join the SAC Film Fest and SAG-AFTRA for the 2024 Digital Odyssey Conference at 10 a.m. Filmmakers, actors, learn to work with SAG-AFTRA no matter your experience or your finances. Then, at 11:30, meet Lucas Simmons of Generate Media and learn the new style of virtual production. At 1:30, meet Oppenheimer's amazing Will Roberts, the award-winning actor and producer, and learn how he became one of Hollywood's most sought-after talents. At 3 p.m., meet Hollywood wardrobe stylist Anastasia Kryukova. See you this Saturday at the Digital Odyssey Conference, The Future of Film.
Join Cine, the Sacramento Black Film Festival, Sunday at 1:30 p.m. with the amazing shorts, authentic, real talk about the cave, and adapt. Our feature is Bottled Spirits. Meet Louise, a 50-something native of West Oakland who has lost everything, portrayed by the incomparable Margot Hall. Finally, join us for an in-depth conversation on Black cinema today, led by the producer of Meet the Blacks and Fatale, Roxanne Avent. That's Cine Soul, the Sacramento Black Film Festival, this Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Don't miss this impactful program.
With me in the studio is Martin Anaya, who is the executive director of the Sacramento International Film Festival and has been forever.
Feels like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. It feels like that to me, too. At any rate, you have our two filmmakers here, Troy Lee. Hi. And Edgar Hilbert.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, well, we want to hear your stories. We really think on how you do film. I can't think about it, it's amazing. You walk down the street and you go, I'm gonna make a film. Is that how it happened, Troy?
Almost literally, in the sense that these guys are both 48-hour filmmakers.
Oh.
So both of them made a movie in 48 hours. It's going to play back this Saturday at our 48-hour component, the 48-hour film festival, part of the Sacramento Film Festival. So when you think about their story, think about it in that context too,
Wow.
as if
So-
it's not already mind-blowing.
Yeah,
enough.
this is a program that you've done for years, and it's really about creativity. It's about coming up with something, coming up with action,
Yeah.
coming up with a storyline, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And how did that happen? I kind of go, if you got that, man, you got it, right? Don't you think?
Well, I mean, so it was further exacerbated because every year what we do is we throw a little monkey wrench in there and we tell them at the last minute pretty much, hey, by the way, there's a theme to this contest and there's 3 components that you have to have that have to be a part of every movie. Troy, you want to tell us what those were this year?
Yeah, so the theme for this year was Superman, the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to.
You better.
Yeah. So we had to have a prop that was kryptonite, and we had to have a dialogue. I believe it was, if I can remember it clearly, you will bow down before me, Jor-El, one day, something like that.
Yeah,
I totally
okay.
forgot.
Both of you, and one day,
we bow to everyone. It's something like that.
I see. I
was
see.
a
I have to
long
see these
dialogue.
movies, see if they got it right.
If
So
you get it wrong, what
the
happens?
line of
Get out.
dialogue is,
Oh, yeah.
"You will bow down before me, Jor-El, both you, and then one day your heirs."
You heard.
Yeah,
That's
it was
part of
exactly
it.
Very
what that was.
Shakespearean.
You heard.
Very
So they had to throw that line of dialogue in their movies. Now I'm scratching my head wondering if it actually made it,
No, we
made it
did,
in
but
there.
just
You
for
got
the-
it?
It's
You wrote it down.
It's
All
a
right.
lot of complicated. Yeah,
I
the
don't see
phrase.
how one could put it
And we
in.
had to have a character, Jimmy Olsen.
I see.
Had to have a
That's
named
true.
character in every movie. So
Okay,
three gimmicks, three MacGuffins, and a theme.
That's amazing. And you guys decided you would do it.
Yep.
Because it was a challenge to you?
Yeah, it was pretty much a challenge because we have basically how I do things is that even though it's a 40-hour challenge, we can actually get our scripts done in advance. But on launch night, that's the day where Marty gives us our elements, and we have to like edit out our scripts that night. Second day should be the day you should be getting all your shots done.
Mhm.
The third day, which is like the final day, you gotta get everything submitted to Marty at like 11 o'clock. I think
Who's
that was.
Okay.
That's the part where you gotta be editing everything out, getting your film done before 11 p.m. that night.
So
On the third day.
Were you close?
I got mine's done pretty early actually because I had to
This
work the
guy
next
was
day.
chilling, man. He like got his in like halfway through Sunday. He was
There's like
done.
one actor in the
Wow.
play or the movie?
Oh, what's up?
One actor or two actors?
No, I had all
Cast
12
of thousands,
Cast
right
of-
here.
I like it.
Yeah, I had like 23 people on my team, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that takes a little longer sometimes.
Well,
Little
it
bit.
depends on what roles they play.
Okay, all right. Pat yourself on the back. Sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you?
Well, my team wasn't that big. It's just we were 7 in the crew and actors. We do the script the first day, Friday. So we start filming Saturday. We finish shooting at 11 p.m. So we start editing at that time, and we finish around probably 11 a.m. in the morning. Then finish the little things. We had some music in there, so we had to put the music, things like that. I think we delivered like 5 p.m., probably 3 p.m. But
That's
yeah,
great.
a lot of
And
work.
you guys
So
are
how
the
many
early
movies
birds.
have each one of you made?
48-hour wise or just in total?
Any?
Man, I have so much on short films. I lost count.
Oh, okay.
But if you're talking about-
it's what you like doing is doing movies.
Yeah, short films, web series, TV shows. I actually have 2 TV shows here in Access as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, but if you're talking about 48-hour wise, with SAC International Film Festival, it's 3, including this one. And then before SAC International Film Festival, it was Asian Pacific Film Festival. That's 1.
You know, I've been doing this every year, and sometimes he brings in people who have. This is my first one.
Okay.
What about you? Is it? It's not your first, is it?
No, it's maybe the 4th or the 5th time that I go. I love the 48. I mean, Martin does something incredible with the phrases and things, and it's like you had to think and imagine what he wants, what we deliver. Here was, in this case, I think was about heroes, right? Like Superman.
I see. Okay.
So we work on that. We did it before. As I say, my children are the ones that went to film school. One Santa Cruz, the other one in Art Institute, and they want to start it. But then this year they say, we don't have time, but we want to go. You do it. You can do it. All right. Well, I mean, I will be the leader. I was just an actor in the other ones. But
I
yeah.
see. So is this done anywhere else in the United States, or?
Well, yeah, no. I mean, there are a lot of cities that have a 48-hour film festival. I'll tell you the brief story about how this one came to be. So when a long time ago, back in prehistory, the Sacramento Film Festival was under the auspices of Access Sacramento when I worked for Access
Yes,
Sacramento.
I remember.
So I'm talking about the late 90s, early 2000s. At that time, Ron Cooper and I started the place called Sacramento. Now I know you're going to have, I mean, I don't know how many films that they've got by now. It's got to be up in the 150s at least.
Yeah.
But the point is that was in direct relation to the fact that there were no local movies really being made. There wasn't a lot of local production at that
Right.
time. So we had to create a barn raising project. So when Access Sacramento kind of bequeathed, if you will, the film festival to me, allowed me to take it independent under another banner, that then we sat there and we said, well, we still got to have some sort of an incubation project. The place called Sacramento, for many of these filmmakers, is a 4 or 5, sometimes 6 month process.
Yes, yes.
So we thought, well, let's go the other direction It just so happens that the people that ran the original 48-hour film festival in LA were good friends of mine. So I went to them and I went, would you guys be okay, or could we make a deal? And they went, do it. Go
do it.
They gave me carte blanche. And they gave me tips and pointers and, best practices,
It's
the whole
coming
night.
back to me, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, that's how it all came to be as far as the 48 is concerned. And again, that's just one component of, I mean, you saw, we're going to have a filmmaking conference. We're going to have Cine Soul, which he sends his regards of Mr. Vincent D. Miles,
Oh,
the
yes.
executive director
Vinny.
of Cine Soul. Oh, Vince. Yeah. And he couldn't be here today because he's covering for somebody at his job somebody came down with COVID. But, these are all components of the wider Sacramento Film Festival. And the idea is, again, carrying that torch now for 30 years with the California Film Foundation,
Wow.
oldest, longest running, and largest film organization specifically to train filmmakers in the region.
Boy, you took one of my questions was the relationship between you and the California Film Foundation.
So, the bottom line is, I was after Access bequeathed me, like I say, this film festival. I'm like, I was like the dog that caught the car, right? Like, what am I going to do now, right? We'd had a little bit of experience, so we weren't completely newbies. But then, at the same time, I was a member of what was then called the Northern California Writers and Artists.
That's
It
right.
was a writers and filmmakers thing. They dragged me in one day. I was actually having a meeting with our film festival. That was the intent was, and they dragged me in and they said, "We're losing our director. Will you take over the group?" And I was like, no. And they were like, yes. And I said, well, I'm going to need a cadre of people. And so that's when we got Don Spinella came in,
Oh, yeah.
Cheryl Leff, who was a member here at Access
Mhm.
Sacramento, a few other people. You might remember Don Mattioli from years ago, a great screenwriter.
Yes.
So these guys came in and they helped put together the next phase of what then became known as the California Film Foundation. So it's been like, peas and carrots ever since. And then we've supported all these other film festivals. The Latino Film Festival, headed by Dr. Jorge Santana, the Sacramento Asian Film Festival, which has been running for 16 plus years now, and of course the Sacramento Film Festival. So and we're there to support other people too. I mean, we do stuff up and down the state now, but the big one, the flagship, is the Sacramento Film Festival.
That's good. That's good. And it's been, I remember when it took off, and I thought, oh, this is great. This is really good, because it's California. This is the filmmaking capital of the world.
Absolutely, that's kind of how we looked at it.
Yeah, good, good. So, and you were walking down the street one day and you thought, gosh, I'd like to make films.
Not really. I mean, I was a magician when I was a kid, so 16, 17 years old. I always like film and thing. My children went to school because I always push them for film, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So I watched the movie Superman in 1980, so it's ready.
Ooh.
Like 3 or 4 times, right? So anyway, no, I always see something that I like to do. I think the creativity of the producing something is, you know what happened with Rocky, right?
I
So,
do,
mean,
I do. So we have to say now that if you're listening to us or watching us talk about the film festival, it's this weekend.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, it is this weekend.
Oh no!
And you get to see,
I gotta go.
It's gotta see. How many films will I see if I go there?
You know what? I don't think I've yet. Miles is going to, one of our filmmaker liaisons, Miles, is going to come up here in a minute. We'll ask him that question.
Oh,
I
that's
really
right.
honestly
He's out
never
there
counted.
somewhere.
I know it's got to be over 40, 45 films at least,
Mhm.
somewhere in there. I mean, there's 10 of the 48 films, just the 48 alone. That's 10 movies.
Amazing, amazing. So, and tell me about the organizations that are all connected, like Cine Soul and all that. How does that work?
Well, again, in the case of Cine Soul, there was a Sacramento Black Film Festival that had tried to get going for years,
Mhm.
and they had stops and starts. Well, eventually, Ron and I met this young lady named Julie down in San Jose at CineQuest. That was the time and the day that I got to meet a lot of filmmakers and a lot of amazing filmmakers. But Julie introduced me to Spike Lee.
Oh, it's Spike Lee.
And so what happened was Julie was trying to start this film because it turns out she was working for CineQuest in San Jose, but she was from here. She was from Elk Grove.
Ah,
So then we started trying to put something together. That fell apart because she was trying to work with the Guild Theater, and for whatever reason, you know, Kevin Johnson and that whole organization, and it just didn't go.
right.
So then eventually, a really close friend of mine took on the mantle, Nicole Mattox, and then eventually passed it to Vince. And we've just been kind of the support organization ever since. So that's the idea. We're trying to be the wind beneath the wings of some of these smaller film festivals that by themselves might not have a lot of oomph.
Okay. Well, we have to take a short pause for the cause right now, and I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming to talk to us about your films. I think it's fascinating. I find it. I don't mind sitting in front of a camera, but I can't. I don't think I could be a producer. I think you have to have a special push because there's so many people involved. You know, if you look at the list of everybody, you know, it's amazing. So hang tough. Thank you so much, and we're going to take a short pause, and we'll be back right up after some important messages.
Thank you.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Food can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
You are loved. You are valued. You are resilient. You got this.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
Okay, we're back with Marty Anaya and Miles Zabala, who is a filmmaker liaison.
Yes, I think so.
Which is has to be an amazing job. So how many filmmakers do you like liaison with?
I would say it's actually, I know the exact answer, it's 20 filmmakers.
20 filmmakers. And they're from here all over the place?
They're from all over the place. Actually, we have a couple people that actually me and Martin were on the phone with this morning that were talking about flying in all the way from the East Coast. So, yeah, there's a lot of things to manage and coordinate.
Yeah, I'm sure of it, and it must be really interesting because these are the creative people who say, I have to do this, you have to give me what, you know, I mean, is it really tough working with that many filmmakers?
I think when it gets late in the night, I think Marty and I can both say it gets tough, but, you know, really what makes the job a little bit easier is like the passion that the filmmakers have. It really kind of fuels me.
Yeah, and of course the thing is, it's for this amazing program called the International Film Festival, which is coming this weekend.
This weekend.
Your work is almost through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably going to wake up on Monday going, hey, what do I got to do? You know?
Oops.
I mean, it's just one of those kinds of things. On that point, though, about the far-flung and just bringing people together, it's very interesting because the lady that he's talking about, who's coming in from where's she coming? Philly, right? Philadelphia. Actually directed a movie. What's the name of the movie again, Miles?
Climbing into Life.
Climbing into Life, which is a film that is about, it's a documentary about a lady from right here, born and raised in Sacramento, just a few blocks from here. And Miles, hit him.
So she's the mother of a very famous climber that's also a Sacramento native, Alex Honnold.
Climber. So if you've ever seen the movie Free Solo, which was huge, this lady is his mom, and at the age of 60, what was it, something?
60-something.
She decided to start climbing, and she went and climbed El Capitan, and they actually documented it, and that's the movie we're going to see. It's going to be happening this weekend. What's the name of the showcase that's in?
That's going to be in World's Greatest Shorts Part 2.
World's Greatest Shorts Part 2. All this stuff, by the way, is on the website. So if you go to that website, SacramentoFilmFestival.com.
And you can come to this thing, and when does it start?
Well, everything's going to start Friday night with a party. So this night, and I want you there, Ray.
I'll be there. And so it's up on the screen right now. Is it going to be at the Railroad Museum?
Well, the party is going to start at a place called The Other Office, which has been a long-time venerated spot in Old Sacramento for years and years. It closed down for a couple of years during the pandemic, and the owner has just reopened just for us. We're going to actually christen it. So that's Friday night. That is free, but you have to be a member of the California Film Foundation. So you have to go. You have to be a member in good standing in order to get in.
And how easy is that?
Well, I know a guy.
Oh, you know a guy.
Got to go to the website.
You guys got to come on just other times.
Yeah, but the whole rest of the film festival is going to be at the California Railroad Museum.
Okay, good. Give me some examples of some really interesting films that are part of this, choices and ideas. Just a couple.
Okay. There's a good film called Frames by Jeff Fong, and it's like a documentary about a guy, quite literally for, I think it's about 8 minutes or so, talking about frames that he has set up all throughout his house, and kind of ties that to his memories and his past relationships.
It's called
Frames.
Frames?
It actually plays like a documentary, but it's actually a mockumentary, and the star of it is actually a guy that's been sitting in this studio before.
Really?
Yeah, Galen. And not only that, but not only has he been sitting in the studio before, but he's actually been a guest of Access Sacramento.
Okay.
So yeah, Galen Howard, and he's the star of this movie.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So I really like the idea of this. I don't know how many people or filmmakers you had apply for a space.
Oh. I mean, once again, I haven't counted it, but it's well into the 800-900 films.
So we have some B-roll, and I'm not sure what it is. Do you know what it is?
I hope it's self-explanatory, but I think what you're about to see is a movie that we're playing. It's our feature presentation on Saturday night. Again, it's called Central Valley because guess what? It was shot all right here in the Central Valley. A lot of people right here from Sacramento worked on this movie.
Great. Well, okay. And then I have a question for you, Miles, after we come back. Here we go.
We talk about the Central Valley because of its fertile land. But if you ask me, everything's either dead or dying here.
I don't care about the money, all right? You can keep the $60.
That's all I got.
But if you want to end up a dead meth head like Mom, then not bringing me and Javi into this.
He didn't make it. He passed away.
I'm just looking out for what's best for my nephew. Is that wrong? I want him to live with me.
Okay. All I need is proof of housing and income.
It's just for a couple weeks, bud.
I'm just trying to handle my biz. I look up the guy, can I catch me get wrecked, and I really don't care what it is. And if it wasn't for kids, praying that God can
So, how do you get in the 3 words that you have to put in that one?
Well, that one's a feature. That's not one of the 48-hour films. So he didn't have to go with any Marty's weird rules. So only the 48-hour film. Only Troy and Mr. Hilbert had to deal with those kinds of things. But this guy here, actually from Modesto, his name is Travis Ross. He actually used to work for Channel 3. He was an on-air personality at Channel 3, radio disc jockey. Went down to L.A. to find his fortune and fame, as so many do. And what happens is, and what one of the things that I'm really proud about, and Miles can probably dictate it better than I can at this point because I'm always talking to our team about the pedigree and the longevity and about how so many filmmakers, because let's face it, I mean, we're building a film community here. We're always building a film. Well, we've been building a film community for 30 plus years.
Yes.
And the simple fact of the matter is many people still find that they have to go, like in my case, to the Bay Area to find work, right? I manage a TV station for a living, not unlike this one. But then a lot of other people have to go to L.A., and that's what this gentleman did. But what we're able to do is bring them back home so they can pay it forward to the next generation of
That's
filmmakers.
great. That's a wonderful statement.
Yeah.
And my question is, Miles, in your personal dream of working in film, how did you find this idea, this part of pulling together all these filmmakers? I mean, what did you think when you first applied? Did you apply for the job?
Yes, I did. Marty brought me on, I think, 5 months ago, almost to the date. Yeah.
It's kind of rigorous, to be honest with you. It's kind of, I tell them straight up, I tell you, this is the boot camp. I mean, you're going into the boot camp here, and this is, yeah. So, I mean, the fact that he's sitting here right here is a testimony to his tenacity. But what do you want to be when you grow up, Miles?
I want to do something in film. I think I told him actually last night, my goal is to come back and do the 48. I'm really excited. I don't want to, if I end up leaving my role now, I want to come back and be a familiar face.
Okay. You two. You have to come back sometime and talk to me more. It's only a half an hour show.
You come to the party this Friday night. I'll talk to you all night.
Coming down there, okay. Well, can't bring my microphone then.
You going to bring your mic? Yeah,
no,
bring
I can't
it.
do it. This is not my microphone.
I'll hand you one. We'll have cameras and mics. We call it the paparazzi party, so there's going to be a lot of shutterbugs there Friday night.
All right, thank you. That's all the time we have, folks. We'll see you next week on LiveWire. You know LiveWire, it's every week at this time, so stay tuned.